There have been some changes to PGWP in 2024 that you need to know about. In this video, I'll share important PGWP question answers, postgrad work permit tutorial, and a bonus point about getting PR in the future. My name is Max Medic. I'm the founder of Canada, one of the biggest online communities for new Canadians. Together with immigration lawyers and other partners, we support people like you. One thing about my approach is I like to get information from the source. That's why you often see me interviewing government officials and other decision makers so that you stay informed. If you want to make your new chapter successful, consider subscribing and liking this video. PGWP questions answered. Number 1. What is the maximum duration of the PGWP I can get? Generally, if you study for 1 year, you get a 1 year PGWP. 2 years or more, a 3-year postgrad work permit. However, if you're a student in a master's program that's 1 year long, at least 8 months, you may qualify for a 3-year PGWP with some recent changes. Number 2, what if I study 2 1-year college programs? If the college programs are in the same field, you can request a 3-year postgrad work permit. Wait to see it in the tutorial. Number 3, when should I stop working? The day you officially receive your academic transcript or completion letter is when you should stop working. You can continue working once you apply for a PGWP and receive the confirmation of submission. Number 4, when should I apply? You need to wait until the school is done and you receive the documents mentioned in the previous question. Number 5, can I apply from a different province or country? Yes, PGWP is an open work permit. You can move around Canada freely. Also, you can make an application for a PGWP from outside Canada, but there's caveats that I'll touch in the next answer. Number 6, how long do I have to apply? You have up to 180 days after you graduate to apply for a PGWP, and make sure your study permit has not expired. If it does expire before you can apply, you need to switch status to visitor or leave Canada. Remember to maintain legal status throughout this entire process. It's very important. Number 7, what if my passport only has 1 year validity, but I can get a 3-year PGWP? I highly recommend extending your passport. If not, you'll be able to request to extend your PGWP in the future through a paper application. But to spare you from all the legal headache, I just highly recommend you get a new passport. Number 8, what documents do I need? Passport, proof of graduation like a letter of completion, academic transcripts, or diploma, explanation letter, and some IRCC forms. We'll dive into it in the second part of the tutorial. Number 9, I have been working when I was a student. Can I apply for PR? General answer, no, as that work experience does not count towards CEC, but in some cases you may qualify. I'll talk about PR at the end of this video, so make sure you watch until the very end. Alright, welcome to the PGWP tutorial, the step-by-step guide. The first thing I need you to do is to go to GCKey, the IRCC's first platform, not the new IRCC portal. At least that's what we have right now. That's the relevant information in 2024. Then you want to scroll down once you logged in to click on Apply to come to Canada at the bottom. You probably don't have this reference code, but you're gonna click on Visitor Visa Study and or Work Permit. Now with this one, it's pretty straightforward. A lot of personal information, but for the first set of questions, you want to select work, temporarily, more than 6 months. And again, depending on your passport, just because we have a lot of viewers from China, I'm gonna say China. Then the country of residence, that's where you currently live. So if you studied in Canada, in theory, it should be this country. Now, do you have a family member who's Canadian citizen or PR? This depends on you, you might. So you might have to say yes. Date of birth, just for the sake of it, let's say. Now that you've answered these, click next. Lawful PR of the United States, I'm gonna say no, but if you are, obviously you'd say yes. What's your current immigration status in Canada? We're gonna say student because you're applying for a postgrad work permit. Now, do you plan to work on campus? I'm gonna say no. Are you a full-time student at a participating post-secondary institution? So again, if you are at a DLI and you want to work off campus for up to 20 hours a week, this does not apply to us. So we're gonna say no. Have you recently graduated from participating? I'm gonna say yes. and the program was full-time, minimum of 8 months, right? That's what you need to be eligible for this postgrad work permit. Is your work an essential part of your studies? For example, co-op. I'm going to say no. Next. Have you been told by IRCC that you are approved in principle for PR? Let's say no, but this may vary. Again, depends. Some people are able to get PR, like one of our clients received it before even graduating. Have you submitted a PR application? I'm going to say no, but you might have. So it really depends on your case. Do you have a job offer? Important to understand, you do not need to have employment or to have an offer of employment to qualify for PGWP. So I'm going to say no. This would be applicable to most of you. Now, an official letter from your school that confirms your completion and final transcripts. So again, for you to apply for this document, PGWP, you need to have those. So I'm going to say yes. What's your marital status? Just to keep it easy, I'm going to say single. Keeps it easy in many cases. What's your province or territory of destination? Let's say that I study in Toronto, so let's pick Ontario because most of you are watching from there. Now it tells you your results, what I'm eligible for, and we're interested in this one, PGWP, Postgrad Work Permit. Click continue. Now we're almost there, almost at the most interesting part where I'm going to walk you through the document checklist and things you need to pay attention to. So, do you have your official letter from school that confirms you completed and a copy of transcripts that confirm this again? Yes, I do. Now, medical exam in the last 12 months. I'm going to say no, but in some cases, if you want to work in some occupations, you'd need to have your medical exam done. Boom. That's the list. So see if you're planning to work in any of those fields. And in that case, you will need to do it. But I'm going to say no, just to keep it easy. And then it confirms again. So more occupations, let's say that you want to work as a day nursery worker, then you'd need to do it. But I'm going to say no for the upfront medical exam. But even if you do have that, that applies to you, it's no big deal. You just need to book an exam with the closest physician. You can look it up by typing in IRCC list of physicians or medical centers. Do you want to submit an application for a family member? Again, if you have a partner and they are eligible for a spousal open work permit, and let me remind you, starting from 2024, it's only masters and PhD students who are eligible, their spouses. So I'm going to say no in this case, but you might have to say yes. For representatives, again, if you have a pretty complex case, you need legal support, reach out to our immigration firm, but in this case, no. Next, in the past 10 years, have you given your fingerprints? Most likely yes when you applied for your study permit. Now, fees associated. Yes, I'll be paying fees. Do not say that I will not be paying fees. Are you able to make a digital copy? Yes, I am, with a camera or a scanner. Now, are you going to be paying online? Yes. Next, we have reached now the middle stage where we've done the questionnaire and the system wants us to confirm. Go through all of it, make sure it's right. Don't make any mistakes. It's going to create unnecessary legal headache in the future. And once you've done that, continue to go to the actual document checklist. The document checklist is on this page. So there's two sets of documents. These documents, application forms and supporting documents, are required. Then the second part is optional documents, but I recommend you include it, especially for those of you who studied 1+1, who did a 1-year program and then another 1-year program, and you want to get a 3-year PGWP, you'd need a letter of explanation. I'll show you later. For now, let's focus on this form. I'm not going to make it too complicated because it doesn't have to be that. The goal of this tutorial is to make it as simple for you as possible so that you have the support you need to apply on your own. But basically, when you open this form, so for example, first of all, when you download it, what happens? You click on it and this file opens up. You would need to have Adobe Acrobat Reader to open and fill it out. So download that if you don't have it. What you do next is to download the form and then you open it. So once you've opened it, it's gonna look something like this. It's very straightforward. You would normally have your UCI on your study permit, so check that and add it there. And then you just want to follow basically this form. So for most of you, it would be apply for a work permit for the first time with a new employer, not an extension, but for some of you, it might be. Now, these are very personal, very straightforward, like date of birth, citizenship, there's your territory of residence, so Canada, how long you've been in Canada. There's going to be questions about if you lived in any other countries for more than 6 months. You want to answer that. Obviously, go through it. It's individual. Then for passport, again, I highly emphasize this is important because you don't want to mess it up. In the future, it's going to be a lot of headache. You don't want that. Make sure your passport is valid for as much as possible so that all of your PGWP duration fits in that passport. Now, the next one, yeah, this is just by accident. Didn't mean to highlight this one, but your postal code. Then coming to Canada. So the first port of entry, what city you entered to Canada and when was the first time? This may be actually before your study permit if you visited Canada in the past. And if you've gone abroad in the meantime when you were a student, you have to answer this question and provide dates and places when you return to Canada from abroad. What was the port of entry, the airport? Then for details of intended work, select PGWP. Self-explanatory. You add the address. You do not need to have an employer for this application. So again, you can ignore the name of employer, the address of the employer. This is just in case you have it. If you are employed and you're continuing that employment, you can include it, but you don't have to. Duration as well. So you don't have to do that. So for PNP, most likely for you it's a no, but if you've been invited to apply through a PNP, which is unlikely at this stage, then you say yes. Previous education, previous employment, obviously fill it out. Then if you have not been employed, actually, you still need to fill it out. Just say it's not applicable to you, but you still need to fill it out. For these questions, for the most part, health concerns will be no for you, but if yes, then you need to explain it. There's enough room for that. However, many of you may have a refusal, a previous visa refusal, that you need to reveal here and say yes, and then explain it in the field. So if your study permit, the first application was refused, you may say something like, due to my misinterpretation of the study permit regulations, I did not submit a full application or a proper application. Therefore, I was rejected, and then when reapplied, approved. Similar here, probably you would say no to convictions, but it might be different. This one, military service, probably no, and the rest is pretty much straightforward. Then what you want to do is sign it, add a date, and click validate. Once it's validated, you'll see there's some bars generated here, like a QR code type thing. Then you want to save the document and upload it over here. So you go into the file, choose the file, and then you upload the file. Click upload. And again, if you did not fill it out, there's going to be errors. So you want to make sure those are fixed, and you upload the actual thing. Now, with these documents, very straightforward. You need a photo. It's very easy to get that done. Passport, obviously, make sure the duration is good. The letter of completion, which says that you fulfilled the requirements of program XYZ at school ABC, basically. You want to upload that, and your transcripts. Now, there was a case when a student was refused after spending $250,000 on her education because in her transcript for the first year, the first semester, she took part-time studies. Just because she had to drop out, her advisor said, hey, don't fail, instead drop out. And that cost her a lot of headache because she had to leave Canada and then try to re-enter with a lot of support from lawyers and the members of parliament. It was very complicated. You don't want to do it, so make sure your transcripts indicate that you've been a full-time student the entire duration of your studies. If there's any misunderstanding, clarify with the school and make sure that the transcript shows that the number of credits that you took equals to being a full-time student. That's important. Another important thing is here. So you don't really need to fill out this form if you don't want to, but of course it's better to add it so that IRCC doesn't have unnecessary questions. But for client information, I highly recommend you make a letter of explanation, which will look something like this. You don't need to make it fancy, it can be shorter than this, but basically tell them that, hey, I've done this, I've graduated, I've fulfilled the requirements, and now I'm applying for a PGWP. You can steal this format or come up with something on your own, but provide a good explanation. And if you studied 1+1, 1 year program, and then another 1 year program, make sure that your letter of explanation mentions that I did 2 programs in 1 field, therefore I would like to request a 3-year postgraduate work permit as per IRCC's regulations and standards. Once you've done that, you've uploaded all the files, this button will unlock. It's gonna say submit. You will pay for the application and submit it. If you got some value from this tutorial, make sure to give it a like. And now let's speak about your future, in particular about permanent residence. With this PGWP applications, many doors become open, such as you can start counting Canadian work experience towards CSC, and you can make an express entry profile. We had a client who actually got PR recently without that 1 year of Canadian work experience, and while he was in school on his study permit, as he qualified through one immigration stream. Our legal team made sure that the documents were correct, then filed his application, and then in 3 months he got his confirmation of PR. If you want to work with an immigration lawyer or consultant to increase your chances, I would highly recommend checking out our PGWP plus PR bundle, where we walk you from A to B, from PGWP to permanent resident status. As you know, the immigration door is closing, so I would highly recommend you start thinking about your PR sooner than later. Now is a good time. Click on the link in the description, check out the service, see if you like it, book a consultation to assess your case, and decide what you want to do from there. Also, make sure to give it a like this video and comment below if you have any questions. Now I recommend you watch this video next.